The Avengers issue 1 finds Carol Danvers reminiscing on the reason she does this superhero thing, knowing Tony Stark's past haunts him as much as his future does as well, so he's trying to make a positive impact in his time on Earth. Thor does it despite being a long-lived god. He finds that humanity stirs something within him. For Carol though, it's rather simple. She does it for the wondrous gem she calls Earth. She thinks about the name Avengers and how to avenge something you have to have lost it, but Earth is something they cannot afford to lose. Iron Man contacts Captain Marvel, telling her they have a live one. Tony asks if she's going to say it, and Carol jumps at the chance, calling for the Avengers to assemble as she leads the team into Project Pegasus to battle Terminus. 1 week before, Tony reveals to Carol that she's the new chairperson of the Avengers, but Carol isn't ready to get back policing the world, since the Avengers aren't cops, or at least they shouldn't be, since all that does is get them involved in stupid civil wars. She wants her Avengers to be firefighters, the only ones who will fly into a blaze since they are the only ones who can deal with it and have to save lives. Tony asks who she's going to have on her new roster, so Carol asks him to join the team, surprising him since she thought her first choice would be Jessica Drew. Carol says that Jessica, Rhodey and Jen are the ones she calls for Captain Marvel business, but Tony is the one she gets for Avengers business, wanting him to be her number 2. Carol also reminds Tony that he is her sponsor, so of course she wants him on the team. Tony asks who else she wants, and a week later, Tony tells Carol all about the alien cyborg called Terminus, citing his nanite spores being left in the earth to regrow every time he is defeated, and his minions are called Termini. He figures that Terminus is after the energy produced at Project Pegasus, as a week prior, Carol asks if Thor is in. Thor knows that he was never out, and he was an Avenger there at the beginning, and he'll be there at the end. Captain Marvel thinks that it's because humanity stirs something in his immortality, and after a beat, Thor confirms as much, making Carol very happy her theory holds weight. Thor is unleashed on Terminus, smashing it with Mjolnir and warning the alien that he will not be the first giant killed by the hammer. Carol backs him up, demanding that the villains stand down since they are the nice Avengers. 5 days ago, Carol meets with T'Challa on his yacht, knowing the Black Panther wanted to be found. Carol tells him that they didn't leave things in a good way, since T'Challa was revealed to have been spying on the team and ordered his sleeper cells to take the team down. T'Challa sternly asks if she found him so they could scold him for his sins, but Carol knows that he's too canny for that, and canny is what she needs on her new Avengers team, and while he's not King of Wakanda or the Black Panther anymore, Carol knows that he wanted to be found, so she would find him and tell him to come home and be an Avenger again, since he never stopped being one despite all he did. In the present, Black Panther saves some of the Project Pegasus scientists from the Termini, cutting through them with his Antarctic vibranium, finding that they are vulnerable to it. Panther tells the scientists that the Quinjets are at the exit, but he needs the most senior scientist to stay with him. The woman says that she isn't cut out for this type of stuff and she's afraid, and Black Panther says that he understands her fear, having felt it before himself. But when the woman's own children tell her story, what will they say about her the day she was asked to be an Avenger? 5 days ago in New York, Carol comes to see Steve Rogers and Sam Wilson, who are sparring in the gym. Carol cuts to the chase and tells them that she is making a new Avengers team, wanting Captain America for the team. Sam is a little confused since which Cap is she talking to, and the woman reveals that she wants Sam Wilson, telling him all about the other members. Sam isn't too pleased that T'Challa is part of the team, but Carol knows that he's the most dangerous man alive, so why wouldn't she get him for the team? And now she obviously needs a Captain America, but she also needs a normal person, and the living legend and war hero Steve Rogers isn't that. Steve takes no offense to the humbling words, as Carol says that Sam is the closest she has to a normal person, and the Avengers aren't gods, so they can't afford to act like they are, and they need to be reminded that they aren't, so they need a grounded perspective, and Sam can provide that. Captain America joins the battle against Terminus, finding a huge electromagnetic flux is happening below and affecting the birds in the area. Thor comes crashing down on the ground as Carol tells the team that Terminus isn't surrendering. As Thor is smashed into orbit by the villain, Cap speeds into the facility, backing up Black Panther and freeing him from the horde of Termini attacking him. Sam tells T'Challa that they have a lot of problems between each other, but the Black Panther is still an Avenger and he is still Captain America. 4 days ago, Carol visits Vision on the North Pole. Vision Vision asks if she remembers the Judgment Day, finding it to be a collective trauma that united the world in its terror. Carol remembers the judgment she received as Vision asks her to ask him about his. Carol does so and learns that Vision never actually got one, and it's given him pause in life, since if, even after all he's done and achieved as a person, a god can fail to recognize him as a person, is he really a person after all? Carol asks, when did Vision ever care what gods thought, since he actually met his creator and god and told him to go straight to hell? In the present, Vision saves Thor, returning to the battlefield and blasting Terminus with his forehead jewel. The monster says that he must be left alone to grow stronger since the convergence is coming. Iron Man asks Black Panther for an update, learning that Project Pegasus was exploring alternate energy sources, and currently they have built an artificial black hole reactor, which Terminus wants to increase his power output with. T'Challa says that he has good news and bad news, telling Carol what she wants first, and Carol wants the good news first, but it was a trick, and Black Panther never has any good news. He reveals that Terminus is desperate and his attack has damaged the reactor's containment field, so the black hole will be unleashed onto the world. He implores her to start the evac of the state, as Carol thinks they need someone who can do the impossible. 3 days prior, Carol meets with the Scarlet Witch, who is more than happy to join the Avengers, since the Earth's mightiest heroes have been the one point of stability across her entire life, and if the Avengers need her, then the Scarlet Witch will always answer their call. In the present, the Scarlet Witch tells the team that she can contain the black hole with a spell, but the magnetic fields of the facility are interfering with her magic, needing someone to remove the core and keep it clear of the facility. Captain Marvel gets to work, asking if T'Challa wants the good news or the bad news. Panther says he wants the bad news, learning that Iron Man and Vision can't hold back Terminus for long. He doesn't think there's any good news, much like how he had no good news for Carol before, but Carol tells him there is good news, since Thor is awake now. Thor crashes into the villain as Carol lifts the reactor out, but it becomes unstable, hoping Wanda is ready with her magic. Captain Marvel flies into the sky with the reactor, asking the team to keep Terminus busy as T'Challa tells her to put some distance between herself and the unstable black hole. Carol, however, can't risk dropping it back down on the state, and they are out of time now. Wanda tells her that she needs to get more altitude since she's still not clear of the facility's electromagnetic field. The reactor begins to crack open as Carol reminds herself of why they call themselves Avengers, not just as a warning to their enemies, but also to them, since Earth is something they cannot afford to lose. The reactor explodes and takes Carol with it, but Carol awakens in a strange cube-like place. A weak voice tells her it's about time she got there, since she has come to his deathbed. The voice belongs to the gravely injured Kang the Conqueror, who tells Carol they need to speak, since he has a warning for her.